Well, Vice President Harris is hitting the trail today while Donald Trump takes a big meeting closer to home. In about a half hour, the former president is scheduled to sit down with Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelenskyy at Trump Tower here in Manhattan. And later, the vice president travels to the city of Douglas, Arizona, where she'll visit the U.S. Mexico border for the first time since becoming the nominee. CBS News political correspondent Caitlin Huey-Burns is here with me in Studio 57 to talk a little bit more about the candidates' plans. It's good to have you here because you're always out on the road.
Is in New York today.
Yes, it works out for us. So let's talk about this meeting that was on, then off, then on again.
Yes.
After some pretty harsh criticism going back and forth.
Yeah.
What can we expect from talks between Zelenskyy and Trump?
Well, yesterday I was at Trump Tower where Trump was having a press conference, and after speaking for a while, then he announced, oh, by the way, I'm going to be meeting with Zelenskyy at 9:45 tomorrow morning at Trump Tower. And as you mentioned, the context of this is that they have been criticizing each other back and forth. Zelenskyy had said in a New Yorker interview that Trump doesn't understand how to end this war. So I asked former President Trump yesterday, Zelenskyy says this, how do you plan to win this war? And he essentially said that he believes he can strike a deal between Zelenskyy and Putin. So I asked, well, what exactly does that look like? Does that mean ceding territory? And he said, I don't want to tell you. So stay tuned today. And he was asked multiple ways about what his vision looks like. And it's notable, Anne-Marie, because he keeps continuing to talk about how these towns in Ukraine have been decimated, that it is not the same country as it once was. Now, you would argue that that is Putin's fault, of course. He is the one that waged this war. But what is significant here is it seems to suggest that Trump would be okay with ceding parts of Ukraine. So that is the big question in this meeting. But this comes as, of course, Zelenskyy has been lobbying everyone on this issue. And this is a huge issue among the Republican Party base that doesn't want to send more money and resources to Ukraine.
That is so interesting. Okay, so Vice President Harris has a new ad running out now. It's talking about her border policy. I want to play some of it.
She will secure our border. Here's her plan. Hire thousands more border agents, enforce the law and step up technology, and stop fentanyl smuggling and human trafficking.
So I find the campaign's messaging really interesting over the last couple of weeks, right? Because it's going directly at the criticism that she's receiving. Oh, you want to take our guns away? No, I'm a gun owner. Oh, you want to call me Comrade Kamala? I'm actually a capitalist. Oh, you want to say I'm bad for the border? I could say I actually wasn't in charge of the border because I was the vice president, but instead I'm going to say, only I can fix this. In a way, sorry, not exactly, but Right,
and Anne-Marie, it's fascinating because her party is giving her all the latitude to say and do whatever she needs to do on policy to be able to win this election. And in this election, immigration is a top concern across the board. It is her biggest weakness in this election. It's notable that she's in Arizona, a key battleground state. That state was determined by about 11,000 votes last time around. I was at the border with Trump a couple of months ago. He is continuing to campaign on that issue in Arizona and really across the country. And here you see her taking this head on, as you note. She's trying to lean into her role as a prosecutor in California, also a border state, and talking about the way that she would prosecute transnational criminals. And so she's kind of trying to lean into that. But it's notable that she is doing it at this point because I think it acknowledges that this is a big weakness for her. And our polling shows that time and time again, even as voters' views of the economy are slightly improving, her numbers on that are slightly improving, the border remains the biggest issue for her.
And even as the number of undocumented immigrants crossing the border is going down.
Totally. And what's interesting, too, is that you'll hear her talk about this border bill that former President Trump told Republicans not to pass. That kind of gives her that kind of, gives her a talking point to say, I will pass that. Now, you can, parse through what exactly that would mean. But here she is saying, I will pass a border security measure, and Donald Trump failed to do so.
Really interesting. Caitlin Huey-Burns, thank you so much.
Thank you.